I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, the United States peace envoy is here in Israel working hard to restart negotiations. Lebanese fighters turn their sights on Iran, and Team Coco is in Tel Aviv taking the country by storm. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. Well, Jared Kushner has just led President Trump's peace envoy and met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in hopes of bringing peace to the Middle East once and for all. The stakes are very high for these talks, which have already faced some serious hurdles after Palestinians questioned Trump's own disorganized White House administration. After meeting with the King of Egypt to open the floor for peace talks, Jared Kushner landed in Israel to meet directly with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Very pleased to see you again, Jared, with your delegation. We have a lot of things to talk about. How to advance peace, stability, and security in our region, prosperity too. And I think all of them are within our region.
That same day, Team Trump traveled to Ramallah to meet with leaders from the other side, including Palestinian Authority President Abbas. The Palestinians have been wary about the Trump administration's Middle East policy in the weeks leading up to this meeting, especially concerned that Trump has so far not been on the record about supporting a two-state solution or freezing new Israeli settlements. But things seemed cautiously optimistic in the room.
نرحب بالوفد الأمريكي برئاسة السيد جيراد كوشنر من أجل عمل السلام بين الفلسطينيين والإسرائيليين، ونقدر عاليا جهود الرئيس ترامب الذي منذ البداية أعلن عن أنه سيعقد صفقة سلام تاريخية في الشرق الأوسط، وكرر هذا الكلام أكثر من مرة في لقاءاتنا التي حصلت بيننا وبينه سواء في واشنطن أو في الرياض أو في بيت لحم. نحن نؤكد على أن هذا الوفد أيضا يعمل من أجل السلام، ونحن سنعمل معه للوصول قريبا إن شاء الله لما سماه الرئيس ترامب بصفقة السلام. نعرف أن الأمور صعبة وأن الأمور معقدة، ولكن لا يوجد مستحيل أمام الجهود الطيبة. شكرا.
But less than 48 hours after the talks, things seem to have already gotten complicated. Arab media has reported that Kushner allegedly told President Abbas that halting settlement construction is impossible because it will cause the collapse of the Netanyahu government. The White House has already strongly denied these rumors, calling the comments total nonsense. As optimistic as we would like to be about possible peace talks, true peace will only come if both Israeli and Palestinian leaders can find terms to agree on, which means Kushner has his work cut out for him on this job. Now, a major movement along the Syrian-Lebanon border has just been seen. The armies of Lebanon and Hezbollah have announced a massive assault against Islamic State troops occupying a critical area of South Lebanon, and it looks like the Islamic State is finally calling for a timeout. The Lebanese army confirmed the ceasefire just this morning, hoping to negotiate a prisoner swap for 9 Lebanese soldiers currently being held by the Islamic State since 2014. The Hezbollah army, which had launched a simultaneous attack from the south behind Syrian territory, also announced a ceasefire had been reached after days of non-stop combat with the support of the Syrian army.
القيادة السويوية والجيش السويوي والمقاومة ملتزمون بأن أي اتفاق كامل سيحصل مع جماعة داعش سيكون شرطه الأول كشف مصير الجنود اللبنانيين واستعادتهم إلى عائلاتهم وإلى مؤسساتهم.
The war-torn region has been a source of concern for nations all over the world, especially for Israel, as Iranian influence has steadily been growing in the destabilized areas of South Lebanon. Most alarming of all is the Iranian missile factory that was just discovered under construction in Lebanon, though, a development which Lebanese Prime Minister Hariri is now claiming to be actively preventing. This current ceasefire may mean significant progress in the fight against the Islamic State, but unfortunately the road ahead looks unclear and bloody. The European Union has just denounced Israel's demolition of 2 Palestinian schools in the West Bank. This is a controversial and complicated case, and with us to help explain is ILTV's Brett Allen Smith. Now, Brett, what are both sides saying about this right now?
Thanks, Aaron. Well, this is a very tough situation. Now, last week, the IDF located and destroyed 2 interim Palestinian schools, basically just caravans and makeshift classrooms, that had been illegally built in violation of Israel's jurisdiction over Area C of the West Bank. Now, according to the Palestinians, however, these schools were built on Palestinian-owned land in order to serve kids who otherwise didn't have access to a school close by. But it looks like Israel's gone ahead and destroyed the classrooms anyway, and just before the first day of school.
So, at what point does the European Union enter into this story?
Right. Well, in this case, the EU actually funded the building of these schools, although Israel believes that they did so without any legal permit or permission of any kind. Now, of course, the EU is condemning the demolitions, and they're demanding that Israel rebuild the schools altogether, as you'll see right now in the report.
Right.
The IDF has just demolished 2 modular Palestinian schools in Area C of the West Bank. Area C poses an especially difficult line to walk for both Israeli and Palestinian officials, with both sides sharing critical and interrelated responsibilities for keeping the region afloat. But now, the line has just become a lot blurrier. Palestinians built the schools with money from the European Union, but failed to obtain a permit from the Israeli civil administration, making the constructions illegal. Though this may be the legal basis for Israel's demolition of the schools, the European Union has slammed Israel's move, demanding they rebuild the schools which should have been provided by Israel in the first place. The Oslo Accords require Israel to cover infrastructure in Area C, which the Palestinian Authority is then obligated to fill with public services such as education and medical aid. This case is a familiar one, with disputed illegal constructions and demolitions a long and tragic trademark of activity in Area C. But even though their classrooms were all demolished just before the first day of school, Palestinian children huddled under a tent amidst the rubble and opened their textbooks anyway. For them, the conflict is costing them far more than mere dollars.
Palestinian President Abbas has been leveraging pressure against Hamas over the last several weeks, cutting money for electricity in Gaza and denying medical aid to thousands hoping to leave the Strip. And now we've just learned that Abbas has very nearly fired over 6,000 civil servants in Gaza, most of them from the health and communications ministries. Abbas has been in a power struggle with Hamas since the terror group seized control of Gaza in 2007, and the Palestinian president is now using the humanitarian crisis for his own political gain. His latest attempt to submit Hamas would have left 6,150 civil employees jobless, but now Abbas has decided to let them continue working. It still remains unclear, however, if their salaries will be reduced or if all of them will be spared from the firings. Most of these workers served in the education and health ministries, giving aid officials a lot to be worried about, considering Abbas's history of worsening conditions in Gaza in order to influence Hamas. The reversing of these massive layoffs surely comes with a sigh of relief to the citizens of Gaza, but unfortunately only a momentary one. With things getting worse in the Strip every day, it seems that the Palestinian Authority is very willing to continue putting the livelihoods of Gaza citizens in the crossfire, as the spat with Hamas continues to divide the Palestinian world. Well, we've all had our moments of absent-mindedness, forgetting things at home, leaving your phone in the office, etc., but an ultra-Orthodox man might have just had the worst luck of all. While riding a bus in Bnei Brak, he dropped a roll of 10,000 United States dollars cash and forgot it on the bus. But luckily for him, the driver of the bus, a Palestinian man from East Jerusalem, found the bundle and didn't think twice about returning it to its rightful owner. According to the police filing, the money roll, which contained 10 grand in cold hard American cash, was found and immediately reported to the proper authorities by 35-year-old Ramadan Jamjoon. Jamjoon has been driving public buses through Bnei Brak, an ultra-Orthodox Jewish neighborhood in central Israel, for the Afikim bus company. And when he found the cash, which has apparently been dropped by a passenger, he wasn't tempted by it at all. Quote, "It's my duty morally and religiously and to my God and my work to return the money," end quote. After turning in the money to the police the evening of the discovery, local cops posted a notice in the Bnei Brak paper, ultimately tracking down the owner of the lost loot. Jamjoon didn't receive any reward for his good deed, just a certificate of thanks from the bus company and the pride that comes with doing the right thing. With all of Israel's recent performances in track and field, tennis, the Olympics, and many other sports, it'd be hard not to pick your head up with pride. Well, now Israeli basketball fans have yet another reason to celebrate, since basketball veteran and superstar Miki Berkovits is now set to be inducted into the FIBA Hall of Fame next month as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. With me here now to tell us all about it is Miki Berkovits himself. Thank you so much for coming in. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Shalom, toda raba, gam sheli.
All right. So, my first thing is, when did you find out you were going to be chosen by FIBA?
A week ago they called me. and they told me that there's a possibility, a good possibility, going to be at the Hall of Fame at FIBA International.
Wow.
I said, wow. In this Hall of Fame is Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Shaquille O'Neal. Wow. So I was so proud about that. And after 2 days, they called me and say, "You're in."
It's you.
Wow, wow.
And what goes through your mind during those 2 days?
I was under pressure. You know, first of all, if there is the possibility that I will be at the Hall of Fame, it's okay too. But if they're going to choose me, it's a dream come true to present my country, Israel, to present my club, Maccabi Tel Aviv, after playing pro basketball almost 30 years. So I was excited. My wife was excited, Shirley. My children, I have a grandchildren in the States, in Los Angeles. My daughter,
they're
Radi.
probably going nuts over this.
Yeah, for sure. And it will take place on September 30th.
Yeah.
In Geneva,
in Geneva,
Switzerland.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, in Geneva, in Switzerland.
So first of all, congratulations. I haven't said it yet already.
Thank you very much.
You know, do you think that this is going to put a bigger focus on Israeli sports, on Israeli athletes?
I think so. And it's you know, in this period of time of Israel, you know, the problems we have inside and outside. I think it's a positive. It's something very happy, something very new, and I think in basketball for sure. You know, I think it's a sport number one in Israel. Yeah. Maccabi Tel Aviv took many times the European Championship,
which not a lot of people know that Israeli basketball is actually really good.
No,
well, in Israel we know.
In Europe too.
Outside.
No, in Europe too.
In Europe they know us.
They have Barcelona, they have Real Madrid, and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Wow. In basketball.
So, okay, so on the way to here, you know, start from the beginning of your career to today here in the studio. I mean, what was this always the dream, or was it, you know, I just want to play good ball and that's it?
I grew in Tel Aviv on Dizengoff Street, and I love the game. I love basketball, and I can tell you that the thing that happens now around me, it's bigger than my dreams. You know, I never dreamed about choosing the best player in Maccabi Tel Aviv all the generations, to be in the Hall of Fame in FIBA Hall of Fame all over the world. It's the reality was bigger than my dreams. And as a kid, I wanted to play only for Maccabi Tel Aviv, to be a starter. To be a starter.
You played for them and for Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, I played for Jerusalem
yeah,
too. I played a year at UNLV in the States, and I think it's the best what I can dream about, to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think as an Israeli kid, to present my country next month in Geneva, in Switzerland, I think it's a dream come true, and I'm very, very happy to be there.
It's amazing, and again, I can't congratulate you enough. This is absolutely incredible for all of Israel, and for you especially, of course. I just have one final question. You know, I've been getting these burning questions a lot from people, but this one you probably don't see coming. Why don't more professional players throw underhand, granny style, for free throw shots?
This style of shot was 50 years ago by shooting.
But it's more accurate.
No. I mean, the shot was developed more and more, and I didn't see now somebody can shoot on another guy, you know, like this, the ball. Everybody has to have the touch in the fingers, and you have to shoot smooth, and the ball has to be round, and that's the best shot I can know.
All right, Mickey Berkowitz, thank you so much for coming in again.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, now, if you've ever spent 5 minutes anywhere in Tel Aviv, you probably noticed one thing. Puppies are everywhere. Well, now the world's dog-friendliest city has just celebrated International Dog Day, transforming Tel Aviv into Kel Aviv. That's the Hebrew word for dog, plus Tel Aviv, the city. Okay, you get it.
The Tel Aviv municipality sponsored the event, which celebrated Israel's favorite four-legged friend, no offense to camels, with a citywide festival. Now, in a city with some 25,000 canine residents, which is about one dog for every 17 people, Tel Aviv holds the highest number of dogs per capita in the world. That's a lot of pugs. And this week's nearly 10,000 happy dog customers were giving old Pufferson a little bit of extra love, including some special dog massages, dog couture, and special dog photo ops. This year, you could also buy a one-of-a-kind collar with a SIM card inside, letting you call your dog and get notifications when the dog goes outside a preset boundary.
The city also opened up special rooms for the city's stray animal shelters and rescue groups, helping pups find new families and setting them up with treats and pet training on the spot. This is the city's second Tel Aviv, and at the festival's grand opening last year, the event also launched several innovative Israeli apps just for dogs and dog walkers. So while International Dog Day was celebrated all over the world, even Israeli dogs know how to party better than anyone else. All right, so we're always saying that archaeologists are practically tripping over history here in the Holy Land, and now it looks like you don't even really need a shovel or a degree in archaeology to do it. An ultra-rare 2,000-year-old half-shekel coin has just been discovered by an 8-year-old girl on her way back from school. Little Hillel Halevi was going to pick up her sister from kindergarten one day and happened to see something interesting just lying in the dirt. She picked it up and put it on her special little box of childhood treasures right next to her favorite necklace until older sister said she should show it to her father. Well, after some research, it turns out that little Hillel had just found an extremely rare half-shekel that dated all the way back to the Great Jewish Revolt, just before the fall of the Second Temple. The half-shekel had special religious purpose in ancient Jerusalem, mentioned in the book of Exodus as the half-shekel tax made payable by every able man to the Holy Temple. In addition to paying the temple tax, these coins were also the first minted in silver by the ancient Israelites. This half-shekel tax still exists today, usually paid right before Purim, but the discovery of the coin in Hillel's village of Chalamish means there may have been even more going on in the region than historians previously suspected. Now, it may have only been worth a half a shekel in the old days, but these babies go for over $1 million in auctions all over the world today. Hillel has just turned the coin over to the archaeologists for further study, saddened to see the coin go, but thrilled to have discovered a part of history. Quote, "I felt that, wow, it was written on it, Jerusalem, the holy city. That's really exciting," she said. The summer is almost over, and with it, the summer music hits. Well, before August comes to a close and the season changes, one Israeli musician is still making some summer headlines with her recently released single, Me'chalon, meaning from the window. Let's take a listen.
מהחלון אני רואה את הדברים יותר ברור. אתה תחזיק אותי קצר ואז תלך, זה הסיפור. תשטוף מעצמך את כל מה שנשאר בי לא פתור. זה לא סגור, זה לא גמור, כל החיבור שלנו. מהחלון אני שייכת בלי ספק אל הבפנים. אתה נמצא תמיד ליד כשמזג האוויר מתאים. חולק איתי את הרוחות שמעטלות בעננים. יותר שורף, פחות נעים, כל החיבור שלנו.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce in the studio singer and songwriter Merav Siman Tov. Thank you so much for coming in. It's a pleasure to have you. So tell me about the song Me'chalon. What inspired the song?
It's the second single from my upcoming album, or whatever. You know, it's a changing world, so album is
Every
like
time
an
you write a
old
new
name.
song,
You just release it and give people the opportunity to listen. And it talks about, you know, things that doesn't necessarily combine or interact the way we expect them to interact, but eventually, you know, everything has a reason and everything has a purpose. So
I'd love to dive into the title too, though, a little bit, because you know, Me'chalon, from the window, is like as if you're looking at things from the outside perspective. Is that it?
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. I thought about something like that. We each have a window, like a point of view, window in the meaning of a point of view. So you can choose the point of view that you look upon things, and you can look at things, you know, from a brighter side, or
I like that.
choose to
like
be.
that. So okay, so I wanna jump into, you know, what kind of bands, artists, style, you know, who have you been working with that kind of brought this together in your solo
one
career?
of my greatest teachers in, like, forever, since I was a little girl, was Yuda Poliker.
I love him.
Which is an amazing, one of the greatest musicians ever. And 6 years ago, I became a part of his band, and I'm playing and singing in his band. And we just came back from a tour throughout the world. We were in the States, in the United States, and in Milan.
How was the turnout?
Yeah, what?
Amazing. Was it amazing?
It was extremely tiring. Okay, I just, you know, came so came back so tired that only when I, landed back in Israel, I told myself, wow, and it was a great experience.
How would you explain the Israeli music scene to people who are just totally unfamiliar with it?
First of all, I think that it has to be explained that it is not different than any other scene. I think that people from outside of Israel think that we are necessarily doing something ethnic or something, even though especially in Yehuda Polka also has something.
Yeah, you hear those
we do mesh
infusions.
it in.
Absolutely.
But because it's an immigration country, so we have everything inside our music.
Yeah, we have the Greek, the Arabic.
Yeah, and things, but we do get trends from the world in a little bit of delay. Like hip hop and things like that, they only just now started to be a part of the mainstream. And even rock and roll, which is something that I think happening all over the world, is just now finding its way inside.
It's like leaking in. And I think the internet is of course helping with that. The world is much smaller today. So unfortunately, we don't have much time left. But I wanted to know, what is the name of your next album? When does it come out?
I don't know, and I don't know.
Ooh, good answers. All right. Well, in that case.
But I do want to say something. I want to say that your viewers, can find my music in YouTube. I have, so.
All right. Well, I guess that's the best thing.
Online.
Where can we listen to you?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you will have a lot of people listening very soon.
Thank you.
Meran Simon-Tov, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, everyone's favorite ginger comedian has just landed in the Holy Land. That's right. Conan O'Brien is making friends with Israelis right here in Tel Aviv, in town to tape a new episode of Conan Without Borders. And you can see it all since the funny man started live streaming his trip before even hitting customs.
Conan O'Brien here. I am in Tel Aviv, and this is the sort of port of Jaffa, which is this really old, ancient port. I've been shooting today out with the people in Tel Aviv. Fantastic, really funny, nice people. All the men are incredibly buff, and the women are beautiful. Fantastic, really having a great time. This morning I had a real amazing breakfast of traditional Israeli dish, eggs mixed with tomato. Jeff, what's that called, the eggs and tomato? What is it? Shakshuka. Shakshuka. Wow. That's I'm an idiot. Shakshuka. I had shakshuka. You got to get yourself some shakshuka and get it today.
Enroll in eTeacher's online Hebrew courses and quickly discover that it creates the deepest connection to Israel that you could ever imagine. And now for our Hebrew word of the day. As we speak, Conan O'Brien is in town cozying up to Israelis all over the Holy Land. So in honor of our favorite redheaded funny man, today's Hebrew word of the day is gingy, which is how you say redhead. No, seriously, it is. So first things first, gingy, as you may have guessed, comes from the English ginger, which in this context means the exact same thing. But for the word of the day, I'd also like to bring some attention to some of the stereotypes and even urban legends surrounding our chaverim ginjim, or redheaded friends. So let's just get this out of the way. First, as the television has historically told us, if you're gingy or redhead, you have no soul. Just kidding. Just kidding. Or am I? No, for real though. Gingies aren't so bad. Come on, we've all got a thing for a gingy or two out there. Who doesn't love freckles? Am I right? I Love Lucy, more like I Love Gingy. David Bowie, the gingy who fell to earth. And The Little Mermaid, the little gingy. And let's not forget Prince Harry, who, for when you want some of that sweet royal gingy. Oh, and since we're on the subject of royalty, did you know that Queen Elizabeth I invented ginger hair? Well, don't bother looking it up, it's totally true.
The weather is brought to you by international singer-songwriter Sabina. Make sure to check out her latest album, Purple Ribbons, and get updated for upcoming concerts.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight should be clear to partly cloudy with a nice breeze and a low of 77 or 25 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow you can expect a rise in temperatures and the high will be 88 or 31 degrees Celsius. All right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.58 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv. I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for watching.